What's going on, guys? Welcome along to another video. I'm Matt over at DSR, and today I'm taking out this Yamaha R7. Now I'm going to get on this nice and quick, try and beat that weather coming in. If the rain does start coming, this is going to be a real quick review. My usual setup for when I go and take out bikes, I've got my day sack and I've got all my camera gear in it. I normally then moan about the riding position and about my back aching, so I thought, you know what, I'll try and change it up a little. Got my little bum bag with a few batteries in, and that is it. So I am day sackless, as if I would be owning this bike and how I will be riding it. Let's see if it makes any difference, or whether this bike is still your typical aggressive riding position, because so far it is very aggressive. Let's start off with the engine then, as always. This is Honda's parallel twin engine, 689cc, producing 72 brake horsepower with 67 newton meters of torque. It's not as quick as the old school R6, but it's what we got to deal with nowadays. You just got to make the engine work for you. Give it a little bit more twist on the throttle, leave it in that lower gear just that a little bit longer. I'm going to say let's look at the electronics, but there are next to no electronics on this bike. We've got LEDs all round. We've got a black on white LCD screen. The good thing is this does have quick shifter, and here comes the rain. Here comes the rain. I'm gonna say it's got a quick shifter up, not down, so it's not got a blipper, because I'm pushing down and there's nothing's happening. Can we outrun the rain? So yeah, just quick shifter up, going up, super smooth. I wish it was a blipper going down as well. If I was to buy this bike, that's definitely something I would install. Typical British weather, hot, muggy and raining. We've got clip-ons, but they're like under clip-ons, so they're under the top yoke, which means the riding position and style is really aggressive. It is just your out and out sports bike style. It's very slimline, it's very sleek, skinny from the tank, and the whole thing is tiny. I think from Yamaha's R range complete, it is the kind of slimmest bike they've got. This bike is obviously designed not only for road in mind, but track orientated as well. I mean, you can tell that because we've got the brake lever protection. This bike has only got 130 miles on it, so the tyres are pretty new, the brakes are pretty new, and it's raining, so I can't be pushing it too hard. There is some vibrations coming through the handlebars and the pegs. It's definitely a bit of a lively engine, that's for sure. Ergonomics of this bike, the pegs kind of feel in line with my bum, so that means they're quite tucked up underneath me. And there's going to be quite a strong triangle on my knees, so my knees are going to have to take a little bit of a break every now and then. My neck's a little bit achy from trying to hold my head up. On the track, this is what you want. This would be an awesome weapon on there. On the road, I'm 6'1", so I am quite tall. It's not particularly comfortable for me. Shorter people might get on with this like a house on fire. There is no rider modes. You're going to get what you got. But the engine is definitely, it's this lively. Like I said, brake horsepower and torque aren't the biggest numbers around, but the way it does make its power, like I said, if you use the gears to your advantage, you can definitely have some fun with this bike. We have got a fairly small 4.5 inch TFT screen. It's set up so you got the black background with the white writing, because it's tucked under this front fairing windscreen. There's no dramas with the kind of reflections from the sun. The quick shifter is optional. Personally, if it's just up, I wouldn't bother paying for it from Yamaha. I would then just go and get an aftermarket one with a blipper. The good thing with this bike is Yamaha do offer an A2 compliant version. If you have only just got your license and you want your sports bike, because you're probably going to be a bit younger, then this is definitely an option for you to consider. We've got two main colours, and that's either going to be the black or blue. I think out of those two, blue looks the nicest personally. Either of those two is going to set you back £8,910, or if you want this colour, which is the 60th anniversary, and personally I think this looks the best. This is going to set you back an extra £300 on top of the base price. As soon as you jump on this bike, you notice that it weighs next to nothing. So whether you're like this kind of slow speed riding, trying to get around potholes, or when you're in the back areas and you get into a little bit livelier roads, the bike is only coming in at 188 kilos wet. That's fully fueled, good to go on the road, which I think is pretty good. You can definitely feel it in the handling, like it just wants to go. We don't have the biggest fuel tank in this. This has only got a 13 litre fuel tank, so you are going to be looking at filling up every 100 plus miles. But on a sports bike with such an aggressive riding position, that's okay, we'll take that. Forces us to have a little break. I think from this position it looks really nice. So I'm loving the paint scheme, the little gold accents on top of the suspension coming through the yokes. If I was a youngster again and flexible, a little bit skinnier so my belly didn't get in the way, my knees and my back weren't done for, and I wanted a sports bike, this is definitely something I'd be checking out. The brakes on this are pretty good actually. I appreciate we're still under £9,000 for the bike. So manufacturer's got to save some money somewhere, but ignore the fact that the suspension is diving when I'm going forward. But brakes will definitely suffice straight away. I wouldn't bother changing them, and that's a big thing for me. I'm always one going, oh, change the brake pads, blah, blah, blah. But R7 brake pads and brakes, they can stay. There's plenty of room around the seat to manoeuvre your backsides to kind of suit the riding you're getting into when you're in town. You want kind of, I'd put my crotch all the way forward so I can just sit up and chill out, and then when you start getting into the twisties, you bump and go back a bit, start getting into that more aggressive attacking position, ready to get amongst these twisties. Okay, so fueling 20 miles an hour, second gear. Coming on and off the throttle, there is quite a bit of jerkiness. My body is going forward, engine braking, and you're coming off, and in that initial pickup, first 10% of the throttle, you definitely feel it. Slow riding like this is where your back starts to feel it, that's for sure. So far I'm not having any issues with the seat, but that's probably because a lot of my weight is onto the handlebars, so my wrists are taking more of the weight rather than the seat, or rather than my backside taking the weight through the seat. Wind protection, it's actually pretty good. I see what it's like when I'm doing 60 when we get into the nationals, but town riding, pretty much no wind. The screen on this does look quite kind of arched, so almost like your double bubble style for the old school sports bikes. 60 up to motorway speeds, there is a little bit of wind. So the lower you can duck down, the less wind there is. That's the kind of perks of having a bike with less power, less torque, is that you can have fun with it in the twisties, like getting this in the fast back roads, so 60 miles an hour, and this is where it really comes through. Let's have a little play. That's what I mean. You're not going breakneck speeds. You're not on an R1 that's doing 140 miles an hour through there. You can stick at the speed limits and still enjoy yourself. That's the perks of having a smaller bike like this, smaller CC bike. I'm actually a really big fan of how the R7 looks, especially in the anniversary colours. I like how they brought the styling from the R1 down to their kind of lower tiers. So the front end, it looks sleek, the LEDs on it are nice and tucked away and hidden. I think overall it just looks really, really good. The exhaust, the sound of it is a little bit muted, so if I was to buy this bike, I would definitely be changing out the exhaust for something just to liven it up a little bit more. I did say the throttle is a little bit snatchy. That can easily be adjusted if you get the ECU flashed, so that's something they can sort out. We've got twin 298mm disc at the front and then a single 245 at the rear. Like I said, not having any issues with them so far. R7 does come with S22s at the factory. I really like them, used to run S21s. These are just as good, if not better, kind of as you expect. I think the rear tail section looks sleek. I like how they've tucked up the brake light under there and nothing else. Just got these holes. It's beautiful. There's not really much else to talk about or show you around this bike. Next to no tech on it. That's kind of what most of the talking is about most bikes, modern bikes nowadays. Yamaha just kind of let the looks and the handling and the engine kind of do its talking for itself. Let me know in the comments box below, what colour are you getting? Black, blue, or this anniversary colour? Let's get back on the road, finish off this review and do some more riding. Well, that was just a quick little walk around. Seat height 835mm, I'm 6'1". Both feet are just flat on the floor, but I don't really have any bend in my knees. So, hey, shorter riders, you're gonna have to sit on this and see how you fare. Oh. Typical turning circle of a sports bike. Stationary is not very good. When you're going, it's okay. Suspension, we have got 41mm inverted forks, fully adjustable. I'm 115 kilos, so I do push the suspension. I do test it. So far, I'm not having any dramas with it. Handling these back roads pretty nicely. But like any suspension, I always recommend, if you're keeping a bike for a while, is get it set up, get it tuned for you and your weight. Like I said when I was pulled over, this is kind of like a no thrills bike. It's out there to be a fairly cheap, under 9 grand, affordable sports bike. For me, if you're a newer rider, getting it on the A2 and then you can unlock it to its full potential, it's fantastic. Gets the newer riders into their sports bikes. Let's face it, when we were all young, we wanted sports bikes. Let's not try and pretend we all wanted adventure bikes and touring bikes, because we didn't. We wanted sports bikes, we wanted to look cool, we wanted to look awesome when we pulled up to traffic lights. Nowadays, a little bit older, you get to traffic lights and you're like, oh, I'm dying inside this helmet. So uncomfortable. But hey, when you're young, that's not how you feel, is it? For a newer rider, this bike is awesome. It means you can forget about trying to work out all the tech and worry about all different rider modes and stuff. The only thing you've got to remember is when it's raining, just take it a little bit easy. More experienced riders that want to maintain their young and get a sports bike, but don't want to be spending 18 grand or whatever the R1 is, I'll put it on the screen now, then this is also a fantastic option. And then for those that they've had their sports bike days on the road, they've now got adventure bikes, but they still want to go to track days, this will be an awesome track bike. Obviously get a shifter and a blipper, but you could certainly have some fun with this on track day. The rain is coming again. It's come to get me. Well guys, I'm going to stop it there before the heavens open up too much. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you like the video. More importantly, subscribe to the channel. We got more reviews coming out weekly. And all that's left to say is until the next one, ride safe.